Hello. I was not planning on doing this video, and then yesterday as I was unpacking my books, I was like, I'm gonna do a haul. And then I was like, you know what, I should just sit down and chat about Book Bonanza. I did not vlog. I'm very bad about vlogging in the moment, and then also very bad about picking up the camera and then trying to talk to it in front of other people. Like, I just can't do that. So I was like, I'm not gonna vlog, but then I figured, why don't I actually just get ready with me, do my makeup with me, and I'll chat about Book Bonanza. And then at the end of the video, you're gonna see my haul of all of the books that I took and got signed and all the books that I bought, which I actually didn't buy that many, but I did get a couple special editions that I was very excited for. So that's what we're gonna do today. I'm just gonna chat through my week and do my makeup at the same time. So hopefully you guys are here for that. If you're not, I'll see you when I see ya. So anyways, first up, so Book Bonanza is a big book signing in Texas that like Colleen Hoover created, like runs, whatever. So the signing is Friday and Saturday. However, I flew in on Wednesday. So I'm just gonna kind of go like day by day, I guess, and like what we did each day. So I flew in on Wednesday. So, and a lot of my book friends did as well, and everyone that I was staying with. So I roomed with Nikki from Nikki and Bookland, Cheyenne from That Tall Book Girl, Sam from Sam Reads Little, Tori from Novel Life, and Jess from Peace Love Books. We 6 stayed in 2 rooms together. Tuesday night last week, I get an email from American that I was flying American Airlines, and my flight was delayed, which wasn't that big of a deal because I was actually going to be the first person arriving in Texas on Wednesday morning. Like, I was originally supposed to get in like before 9 a.m. Like, I am a first flight out kind of person. I'm an anxious traveler, and I do not like waiting around at home until my flight is supposed to happen. So I'm like, I get the first flight out every single time. And my flight only got pushed back like maybe half an hour. So it was fine. It was not gonna be that bad. Sam was supposed to be arriving like 10 minutes after me. So now I was just gonna arrive slightly after her, and we were gonna like meet up in Uber to the hotel. Well, so I'm like, whatever, it's not that big of a deal. It's okay, but I'm like, just as long as it doesn't get bumped again. Well, then again, later Tuesday night, it gets pushed back again. And again, not that big of a deal. It only got pushed back like maybe an hour total, but it was just a little stressful for me. But actually the day of, it went by just fine. The reason that they ended up having to delay was because of like the mandatory flight rest. The flight coming into Madison was delayed from Fort Worth. So like they needed to give the crew time to rest. So that's why they had to delay it a little bit. So like I totally understood, and it all ended up being fine. And actually on the flight out, the middle seat was open next to me. So it was just me in the aisle and then a guy in the window, which was so nice. We're off to a good start here and everything. So instead of now landing like right when Sam was landing, I ended up landing right around when Victoria from Victoria Romance Reads landed, and then also Cheyenne. So us 3 like all met at the airport, and then we Ubered to the hotel together where everyone was already waiting, and we ate lunch. And by the time that I got there, so I had 1 room reservation, Tori had the other one, and Tori had called ahead in like a month prior asking like, hey, can we have adjoining rooms please, like the ones that open between the doors, because there were 6 of us, and we're like, we still want to, like, we know that we can't all be in 1 room together, but we still wanted to try to be like as together as possible. And they were like, sure thing. Well, so I don't know the full story, but when I got there, I guess Tori and Sam had been dealing with it for a while, trying to get us into conjoined rooms. So when I got there, they were pretty much just wrapping up with that, and the room that like was under my name was ready. So once we finished with lunch, we were able to go up, and we did end up having conjoining rooms, which is nice because then we kind of split up like 3 and 3. So it was still like spread out enough, but then we could keep the door open in the middle and all be together, which is like what we wanted in the first place. Like, we all wanted to be able to see each other and be by each other. And then we ended up going to Target for some food that we had so much leftover food, y'all. I don't know what we were thinking at that Target. We thought that we were really gonna be up in the room like all the time eating, and we ended up Ubering Eats so much food. We did not end up needing even half of what we bought, but we got a lot. So we went to Target that day, and then we went back, and I think we just like hung out at the hotel for a little bit until it was time for the evening portion, where then some of us went to Billy Bob's. So leading up to Book Bonanza, Cheyenne had found this one place. It's like the world's largest honky tonk or something. And if y'all know anything about me, y'all know that I am not a country type person at all. I'm very much a city person. I never thought I would find myself in Texas. I don't really like do a lot of like country themed things, but I was like, if I'm going to Texas, we're doing the honky tonk. Me, Cheyenne, Sam, Nikki, and Carrie, the 5 of us went to Billy Bob's right away. And then some of the other BookTube people ended up going to a signing that Kennedy Ryan was at like a Half Price Books. So they went to that. And then after that, Zay and Tori hopped in an Uber and then met us at Billy Bob's. And truly, Billy Bob's was one of like the highlights of my trip. That was so freaking fun. Not that I didn't expect it to be, but I think because it's like so far out of my comfort zone, I was just like nervous about it. And I'm sometimes like not great with going out, and especially with dancing. I don't like dancing. I'm very tall. I'm very awkward. I just don't like it. And like this place is like line dancing too, which I like obviously don't know how to do, but it was truly so fun. When we got in there, we played some pool. We all got some shots. We got some drinks. It was truly so much fun. And then Sam really, I forget what song it is, but Sam really wanted to dance to this one song that she had heard earlier, but she like missed out on dancing to it. So then she bribed the DJ to play it again because he was like, I don't know how to play skips. And I think she had to pay him like $5 or something. But then she got all of us out there and like we were learning how to line dance to it. And we were just like, it was so much fun. We were having fun out there. They played Burn It to the Ground by Nickelback, which is my favorite Nickelback song of all time. I love that song. I listen to it quite frequently for getting into a certain headspace. You know, I'm just dropping hints in these videos, and one day they're all gonna make sense for you guys. However, they ended up closing at like 10:45. They were like, last call for bar. And I don't know about you guys, maybe this is just like a Texas thing, and truly it was a Wednesday night too. But like bars down here don't close at 10:45. They close at like 2 a.m. So I was like, what the actual hell is going on here? But whatever, we left and we went back to the hotel. It was probably like a 40-minute ride. It was like decently far away too. Did we even do anything when we got back? I can't really remember. But anyway, so then Thursday morning rolled around and we all woke up. First of all, none of us were like sleeping well, especially that first night. Sam and I legitimately like did not sleep at all. I don't know what was wrong with the two of us. I think part of it is I don't normally, so I take medicine for here and it does not do well with mixing with drinking. So normally when I'm gonna drink, I don't take my medicine. However, I did that in Disney and then I had a panic attack after a Harry Potter ride. So I was like, this time I'm not gonna skimp out on it. Like I'll just deal with like not feeling great. And I did. I was definitely like really, really nauseous that night. So I think that was part of it. Like I just didn't feel good. But Sam and I both like legitimately did not sleep that entire night. So the next day, her and I were both like kind of dead. That day our plan was on Thursday, our plan was kind of to like go to the pool and hang out and everything. So Sam stayed up in the room to nap after we got breakfast. Was that the morning that we went to Cracker Barrel, I think? That was the morning we went to Cracker Barrel because Nikki had never been to Cracker Barrel before because she's from Canada. And we were like, dude, you gotta have Cracker Barrel. So we went there for breakfast and that was phenomenal. And then when we went back, we went to the pool. Sam ended up staying upstairs to try to nap. And literally right as she was trying to come down, we were all going back up. We were probably only down at the pool for like half an hour before thunder and lightning started and they came and like kicked everyone out of the pool area because obviously it's not safe to be down there when there's like thunder and lightning going on. So then we just went back up to the room and it was almost time for like lunchtime and registration then. So we just all went back up to the room and like showered and got ready. And then registration for Book Bonanza started at I think like 3. And we were down there maybe by like 3:30 or something. When we got down there, it was already pretty crazy. And they had you lined up by like last name, like alphabetically by last name. Which kind of sucked because then I was separated from everyone because no one else has the same letter as me. However, Cheyenne was in the line right next to me because her and I have like close in the alphabet. So at least her and I were standing by each other for a bit in line, like in separate lines, but like kind of even. But then my line started moving faster, so I kind of like got away from her. But then I started chatting with the woman behind me in line, and that was fun. And then as I was talking with her, then all of a sudden the girl in front of me, Sarah, turned around and she was like, I know your voice. And I was like, I've come to haunt you from behind my screen. And it turned out that Sarah watched my channel. So then we just got talking and we were talking about books and she's read Manacled. So we were talking about that and just talking about the signing in general. So then the three of us, like that made the line go by really fast chatting with them. And it was just nice to like everyone there, you already have common ground to talk about things with because everyone there is there for books. So it was nice to just be able to chat with them and made the line go by really, really fast there. By the time that registration was through, we had like a booktube dinner that night that like 20 of us booktubers went to this one like Mexican restaurant to go and eat dinner at, which that was really fun, getting to see everyone, because obviously you're there with like huge groups of people, but you don't get to like see everyone a lot outside of like your roommates, because you're doing a lot of like the signing stuff together, or you're just like always in the room with them. So it was really nice to be able to see some of the other like booktube people that we didn't get to see as much throughout the rest of the trip. Oh, and then when we got back, we sat at the bar for a little bit, and I think that was when we saw Sarah Kate down at the bar. Cheyenne knows Sarah Kate, so we like talked with her for a little bit. And also, I forgot about this, because when you're like walking through the hotel, you can just like see authors out and about. And we saw, when we were walking to the pool, we saw Amo Jones, which if you don't know Cheyenne, that is like her favorite. She was like all weekend long, she was like, where's Amo, where's Amo, where's Amo? And we saw her sitting at a bar, or like at a lunch spot, like eating, like she wasn't really by anyone. She's just like sitting at a table, and instead of like going up to her, Cheyenne was just like, Amo, I love you, and like blew her a kiss. And it was just funny getting to see like these authors just like out in the wild, and you would just like walk past someone and be like, oh, that's Sophie Larkin, her husband, or like, oh, that's Candy Steiner, oh, that's Emma Scott. That was pretty much Thursday, which was like the day before the signing. And then, so I think that was like everything that happened that day. Then came wristband day on Friday. So Friday wristbands, you could get in line starting at 7, and then wristband distribution was going to start at 8. And this might be where you have heard stories about the wristband process. It was insane. It was insane. So we knew that people were not going to wait until 7 o'clock to sign up, to like line up for wristbands. So we got up pretty early and just went down there, like just as like we rolled out of bed and just went down there. So we maybe got down there around like 6:15, and there were already so many people down there. So we were like standing around, or maybe it was closer to like 6:30, but there were so many people down there already. And there was no organization. There was no line. It was truly just a hallway mobbed full of people. And then when they were trying to like communicate directions to everyone, you couldn't hear, because the organizers like didn't even have like a bullhorn or a microphone. So they were just trying to rely on telling people to be quiet. And then people were like, shut up, shh. It was like grown people just like yelling at each other to shut up. It was actually insane. Tried to then enforce like a single file line when you already have a mob of people in the hallway. Like that didn't work, and whatever. So wristbands was not necessarily the vibe, but also like, I don't know, it's not that hard to just not be an asshole, like to not push people, to not like cut people off. But I think that's hard for some people. Anyways, when we got in, we all kind of had a game plan of like who were like people's priorities, and kind of like watching out for like who wanted what wristband. So like even some people that I didn't want, like I grabbed a Catherine Cowles one because I knew like Sam wanted to see Catherine Cowles. So I was like, I'll grab one for her just in case. But truly, like we were just kind of running around. So Nikki and I were the two that were kind of like, we were buddied up running around in there. And I felt bad for Nikki because I'm very tall. I'm 6 foot, if you are not aware. So I have long legs, and I would like to think that truly one of my best skills in life is how to navigate through a crowd quickly. I am very good at crowd navigation, and I think that comes from years of going to Disney. Like I can move through a crowd really fucking quickly. So when we were inside there, I was like dragging Nikki around everywhere, trying to get all of our people. And for the most part, we got pretty much all of the wristbands that we wanted. However, we could not find Ashley Jade. And Ashley Jade was a priority author for both of us. Sierra Simone's ran out, so like we weren't able to get one from her, but we couldn't even find Ashley Jade's table. We couldn't even find where they were giving out wristbands. We were like, is she not giving them out anymore? Like we could not find them. So we got back, so that after like everyone kind of got all their wristbands that they wanted, which was pure chaos, but you know, we got them for the most part. Then everyone, like a lot of like booktubers just kind of like gathered together, and we were all kind of going through like who got what, who wants to trade, who has like higher numbers, lower numbers, whatever. And everyone was like really cool about trying to help everyone out to get their like priority people, which is really nice. Tori had a lot of low numbers because her and Avery went in with the ADA line. So like they had quite a few low numbers that some of them were like swapping for higher numbers with people for. Like Tori gave me like a lower HD Carlton one because mine was like really high. But after wristbands were done, so the opening panel started at 9:30. But after that, like truly, the five of us were so like overstimulated and so stressed out. Like, I can't tell you how hot it was waiting out in that hallway and just like being shoulder to shoulder with people and people being like not the nicest and like kind of pushing. And so like, it was just, we were like, we are not making it to the opening panel. We all just needed a breather. So we just went back up to the room. We ordered Chick-fil-A breakfast and we just like chilled up in the room until it was basically time to go down for sign. And we had to get ready and stuff. But we were just like, this was mayhem. And yeah, so we ended up going back up to the room after that and just kind of getting ready. And then we went down for the panel and grabbed lunch. Or not for any of the panels. We went down and grabbed lunch and then just sat in line and waited until the signing doors open. So that was kind of nice, taking like a chill approach that morning after the hecticness that was wristbands. So like, that organization could have been better. Like, my background is in events. That's what I did in college and that's what I was hoping to do post grad. And like, I don't do that now. And honestly, I'm good. I don't really want to go back into that at this point because I like having a consistent schedule. But like, there are just things that like when you work in events that you notice. And obviously I don't want to like make assumptions because I know like when I was doing events and people would say something, it's like, you don't know that we already talked about that and like that didn't work and like that wasn't a proper solution. So like, I don't want to make any assumptions. However, I do think that there were definitely some things that could have been a little bit better organized in terms of the wristbands. And also I felt so bad for the volunteer at H.G. Carlton's table because people, it was insane. It was a literal mob at her table for wristbands. Like, people weren't even letting people through once they got wristbands from her, and it was so insane to navigate. And here's the other thing too that I think was maybe a little bit of poor planning on their part was they had Candy Steiner, H.D. Carlton, Catherine Cowles, Gianna Darling, and Ruby Dixon. And QB, what the fuck, McKay? How'd you forget QB? All of them right in a row. All like back to back at the same booth on the same row in the same corner. So that entire corner, that whole weekend was like mob central because those are all very, very popular authors and authors that a lot of people want to see. And truly, like, you would just look over at that area when you were in the sign and just be like, I don't even want to venture over there. Like, I don't even want to do it. We literally saved that until the last, like, H.G. Carlton was the last person I saw because it was like, I don't even want to venture over there. That was very stressful looking over there and seeing how absolutely insane it was over there. And I felt really bad for her too because it was just like crazy. And there was an issue with like some reprints of the like Zaid omnibuses that like those were never supposed to be reprinted, and then like her assistant made a mistake and actually accidentally did get some of those reprinted, so then she had some for sale and people went feral for those, which first of all, that is like one of my favorite duets of all time. I love it. That cover's ugly and I didn't want to buy it, but people were going feral for it. I heard stories of people pushing and stuff. Apparently a pregnant lady got pushed. I don't know if that's true. I like wasn't over there, but people were stealing them out of carts. Like, it was wild over there. And I felt bad for H.D. Carlton and for those volunteers that had to be over there at her table because it was actually crazy, like all day. Like, even at the end of the second day signing, it was still insane over there. Anyways, that's wristbands. And then, yeah, so is that everything day one? So that was that Friday morning. So then by the time that the signing rolled around, we kind of all had a game plan. We had our wristbands and whatnot. So the only people that I did not get wristbands for that I really wanted to were Ashley Jade, Candy Steiner, and Sierra Simone. I think those were like and I didn't get a Colleen Hoover one either, but I was able to still see her. So when we got into the signing, Nikki and I pretty much stayed together pretty much all of day one. But then when we first got in, Tori and Sam, I think they went to Rebecca Genchak. So then me, Cheyenne, and Nikki were like, hey, let's go over to Liza James. Nikki and I both had pre-orders. We love Liza James. Cheyenne loves a book from her and she was currently reading Vibe, and it was Liza James' first signing. We didn't know that. It was her first signing and we were her first people to her table, and we were like her first people that she got to sign for. And truly, that was one of my favorite author interactions I had all weekend. She was truly the nicest, kindest. She had the best energy. Her partner was there and he was so supportive and cute and like volunteering to take pictures and stuff. And she was just so nice to chat to and just so enthusiastic and like grateful. She was like, oh, you're at my table. Like, when we walked up to her, it was truly so great. I got one of my books signed, and then I pre-ordered Vibe, and then I actually ended up buying another one of her books, which you'll see in the haul at the ending part of this video. But truly, it was just such a great experience. I absolutely loved seeing her. And then right next to her was Marnie Mann. So we just jumped over to Marnie Mann because all of us wanted to see her, and I had my other pre-order for her books. And she, again, too, she took so much time to talk with us. She was so sweet. Her husband was there too. And again, he was super nice and talkative. So many supportive husbands, so many supportive partners were there over the weekend and signing, and they were all freaking adorable, just like watching their partners like do their thing and be popular with all these readers. It was actually so cute. Anyway, so then we saw Marnie Man, and now I don't really all remember who I saw like which day, but I'm pretty sure the first day was I saw like Pam Godwin, Fiona Cole, Macaulay Smelter, which when I got up to her, I was just like, I love Sweet Dandelion. It's like my favorite book of all time. Emma Scott was that day. Who else did we see? We didn't see as many people the first day, because here's the other thing, that volunteers were being pretty strict that first day. And again, this is nothing against the volunteers, because they were just doing like their jobs and what they were told, but they were like pretty strict on wristbands. And authors were like not getting through people very quickly whatsoever. And so second day, I think a lot of volunteers were like kind of fed up. I think authors were fed up because they had so many pre-orders that they had not been able to give out because people weren't able to get in their line. So that second day, I was gonna try to go over to H.D. Carlton's table right away just because it was so crazy. But then we went in there and it was a mob, and I was like, I'm not even touching that. Oh, I should get back to day one. Sorry, I'm chaotic at telling stories. Day one of the signing, we got done pretty early. I think we were done by like 5. Everyone else was kind of done, and honestly, like lines were just not moving very quickly, and like I said, they were being a lot more strict on wristbands that day. So it was kind of like, you know what, like we were just kind of done, and it had been a long day with the wristbands in the morning that we were like, you know what, let's just go. Like we're kind of done with this right now. We had an escape room that night, so we were like, let's go back and get dinner, like let's Uber Eats dinner, and then we had an escape room to go to that there was supposed to be a group of 10 of us going to. However, it only ended up being me, Nikki, Sam, and Cheyenne that ended up going. Other people had like other plans that came up, which we were like very happy for them. We're like, yes, please go. And then another group of people was just like, you know what, we're tired. And you know, granted, it had been a long day, so we were all like, that's cool. Oh, also, I didn't realize I had seen Anna Huang that day at the signing, and she knew who I was. That was insane. And I also met some of the review. I met Morgan in line for Pam Godwin. Morgan, I hope your Zaid omnibus didn't get stolen from your cart. And then Megan, I think that was the day that I met you in line. Or maybe it was the second day, because I had an extra H.D. Carlton wristband, and I was like, hey, come find me again. I'll give you HD. So, because HD's line, like they literally were enforcing the wristbands pretty much the whole time for her because they kind of had to be. That was day one of signing. So then we went to the escape room. So we went to this little, like it was a mom and pop escape room place. And honestly, by the time that it was time to go, if we wouldn't have paid in advance, we were like all dead tired. We thought that we would be needing to fit in all of these activities and everything. We didn't, but we did it anyways. So the 4 of us went to this escape room, and the theme was like a wine vault that you were like trapped in, and the police were on their way, and you had to like get out and get an alibi before the police got there. And the other thing with this place was, first of all, we were the only people there. And the second thing was Steve, our game master, he was like, also, we do unlimited, they had tumblers, and he was like, we do unlimited wine and beer here. And we were like, sign us the fuck up for that, please. We got the unlimited wine and beer. And so we were in the room then, and all you had to do was like hold up your cup and be like, Steve, refill. And he'd come in and like take us and get a little refill. So I was having peach moscato. It was fun. The other thing was you could have unlimited clues. Since it was like a mom and pop place, they could kind of do whatever they wanted. So we could have unlimited clues, which we were all very grateful for, because we all just wanted to like make it out. Like we didn't care about like how many clues we used or like the time. We just truly wanted to be able to like do it to the fullest. And Steve was the freaking best. If you are ever in Grapevine, Texas, oh my God, well, I think it was called Grapevine Escape, and Steve was our game master, and he was the actual best dude ever. He was so nice, gave us all of the clues, and we just had a lot of fun. And the other thing that was great about it being a mom and pop place is that we were getting really close, but we only had like 5 minutes on the clock left, and we were like, crap, we're not gonna get it. And I started noticing on the clock that it kept on, like it did not go past 2 minutes for a while. So I was like, okay, sweet, like Steve's obviously giving us more time. And we were getting closer and closer, and this clock was finally starting to actually run down, and we were like, Steve, give us more time, come on, Steve. And then all of a sudden on the little computer screen that he gives the clues on, he's like, cops are stopped at a red light, you got another 5 minutes. And we were like, yeah, Steve. I think he was having fun with us too. And we did end up winning the escape room. It was so fun, and that was just a really like great night. It ended up being like a really fun activity for us to go and do, especially after like kind of a stressful day like that. And then we went back to the hotel. It was the Mardi Gras party night. However, I was just like tired and kind of, it had been a long day and my suitcase was a mess. And I'm like, I just want to shower. I want to get my suitcase in order. Like, I don't want to go down and do that. So Nikki, Cheyenne, and Sam went down to the bar and I stayed up in the room and I showered and I just like kind of decompressed a little bit. It had been like a long ass day. Oh, Saturday we really wanted to go to some of the panels because there was a panel called Teach Me a Lesson that was one that I really wanted to go to because it had Nikki Sloan, Pam Godwin, and Fiona Cole on it. And then it had 2 other authors, Shayla Black and Red Phoenix, which I have never read before. But I originally thought it was like a student teacher panel. It was not. It was actually one about like power play and books and like dom sub and like BDSM dynamics and everything. And it ended up being like such a fun panel. It was so cool. I just freaking love Fiona Cole. I think she would just be like a fun person to hang out with. And Nikki Sloan seems like a little more reserved when you're like meeting her, but then in that panel you could tell that she was just like having fun and like was really comfortable with it, which was just fun to see. And it just ended up being like a really fun panel. So we stayed for that one, and then we went back up to the room to grab our book carts and then come back down and get lunch, and then again get in line for the signing because again we knew that people would be lining up early again. And this was like our last day of signing. Like, we knew that there are people we want to see, there are things we want to do, and we got to make sure that we are there and like able to see all of them. I had not seen Kristen Becca-Ritchie, H.D. Carlton, or QB, or Anna Todd. Those were like my 4 on the second day. I was like, KB, QB, HD, and Anna Todd. I gotta get to go see those 4 people. So we were down there pretty early once again to get in line, and we didn't have any problems once we got in. So on the second day of the signing, when we got in, Nikki and we were going to go over to H.D. Carlton's table, but then it was literally a mob again. And I was like, I'm not even messing with going over there. So we were like, let's just go and kind of see what we can find. And then we were like, why don't we go over and like check out Ashley Jade's table? Like, we didn't have a wristband. We were like, let's just go and see. And that sweet, sweet volunteer, we went over and we were like, hey, I'm so sorry. Like, we don't have a wristband. And like, before we could even finish, she was like, step in line. And she was so sweet. And like, she was talking, she was like, thank you for just being kind. And we were like, thank you for being kind. And you could just tell that this woman had like been through it the day before. And like, it's just not that hard to not be a shitty person. Like, I get it, you're there, and it's like, it can be hard. And some volunteers were rude. So like, I'm not taking that away from people who had experiences with rude volunteers. But all the volunteers that I encountered were like pretty chill. And like, if you were nice to them, they were nice to you, because it was like actually fucking insane of how rude some people were to them. So that was very nice. We were able to see Ashley Jade, and that was great. And then, so I think day 2, we also saw Jennifer Hartman. I got to see Kristen Becca-Ritchie, which I was so excited about. However, I was in their line, and their line was taking a long time, which is fine. I was probably in their line for about 40 minutes, and I was like 4 people away from the front. And all of a sudden, like, a volunteer came in and was talking to them for a long time, like probably about like 5 minutes. And they just did not look very happy with what the volunteer was like saying to them. But like, you couldn't hear, and like, you could see them like looking back at the line, and just like, they did not seem happy at all. And then all of a sudden the volunteer turned around and she was like, because Kristen Becca-Ritchie did not have a signing limit. And the volunteer turned around and she was like, there is now going to be a 4-item signing limit, like 4 books, 3 books and a book plate, 2 books and a scrapbook, but like 4 things total. You're not getting more than 4 things signed. And that sucked, because I had 5 books of myself, I had 1 book of Tori's, and I was going to get book plates, and I had like a book Kindle sleeve that I was having like my favorite sign, and I was going to have them sign that. And then I'm like, shit. So I only ended up getting my 3 Addicted series. Like, I had Addicted to You, Kiss This Guy, and Hot House Flower. And then I had Tori's Hot House Flower that I got signed for her. And those were my only 4 things I got to get signed, which like, I was pretty bummed about in the moment, especially because I was so close. But also, like, you could tell that this was not like their decision to make. And also they just were taking so much time with everyone that their line was moving slow. And like, you could tell that they just like genuinely wanted to have interactions with people. In hindsight, I would rather more people get to see them than me getting to get more things signed. You know, like, I would rather more people get through and see them. So it ended up being fine. It was just like a little bit of a bummer in the moment, especially because I had been standing there for so freaking long waiting. But it ended up being fine. And they truly, again, were one of my like favorite interactions the whole entire time. They were so sweet. They still took so much time. They were like, is Razy your favorite couple? Because I had 2 Hot House Flowers to sign. I was like, no, actually, like, Rose and Connor are. I'm just getting like one of my friend's books signed for her. And then they were like, oh, well, did you know that like Connor wasn't even supposed to be like a main character? Like, he was just supposed to be Lily's tutor until one of them, like, he started coming to them and they're like, I have to write him. And that's how like Connor came to be. And I was like, oh my God, how is that possible? It was just like, it was such a nice interaction, and they just took a lot of time still, even though they had that signing limit done. They even were like, do you want a picture? Like, I didn't even have to ask. Like, I didn't get pictures with all of the authors. I tried to just kind of like get ones that I like really wanted to, and I wanted to get one with them, but I actually was not going to anymore after they put that signing limit in place, because I was like, I don't want to keep them like longer. But they were like, do you want to get a picture? I was like, yes, I would love a picture. They were seriously so fucking sweet. Like, I can't say enough good things about them. And then, so what else? So then that day was the day that I also saw QB, which was just great. Like, to have someone that I've been talking to online for so long and then finally be able to get to see them in person. I actually did see her out in the lobby at one point, but like we didn't really get to stand and chat. But then to get to go into her line and get to chat with her, I just like freaking love her. And it was so nice to get to see her. So nice to see how big of a line she had too. She literally always had a line whenever I looked over at her booth, and it was just awesome. Loved seeing her. I was actually trying to find my t-shirt that I bought from her booth to wear, but I don't know where it is. It's somewhere in my suitcases. But she had one with like all of her heroes' names on it that I bought. We did see Anna Todd, and I was like, my after book is Well Loved. And she was like, I'd love to see Well Loved books. Oh, also I forgot about on the first day, I got to see Colleen Hoover, even though I didn't have a wristband. So Sam did. So Sam was gonna go and like take all of our books to get signed. But then Sam went over and got in her line, and then she texted in our group and she was like, Colleen's not even like taking wristbands. She's like, you can just get in her line. So Nikki and I were like, oh shit. So as soon as we were done with whoever we were over with, we just went over and got in line. And so we got to see Colleen Hoover, which was cool. And dude, she had her table down packed. Like, she had it together in terms of like getting people through. And she was really sweet. Like, she was quick, but she was like really nice. I got to see all of my priority people. There were still some people I never got to see, but that's okay. I feel like, you know, all of my like ride or dies that I like didn't want to leave the signing without seeing, I got to see. And that's like what was most important to me, was just getting to see those like really ride or die people. And then that night it was the closing party, but then also like my roommates and I, like, we all went out to a dinner. So we went out to Enoteca. It was like an Italian place that was in downtown Dallas. And let me tell you, this Uber driver, I did not think that we were going to make it. When we were on our way there, he was our driver and he was not good. He was like running red lights, speeding, whatever. So we were all happy to get out of that Uber. And then on the way back, he happened to be our Uber driver again, because it was like half an hour away from the hotel. So there were not a lot of Ubers around. So we think that he literally just like waited there until it was time to take us home. And this guy was not the vibe. First of all, his name was Mania, which like fit. As we were driving, he literally drove us through construction cones, construction that's like blocked off. He just drove through it, and all of us in the backseat are like, what the fuck? He's like topping 80 on the highway in like a 65. And it's like, if I want to drive 80 in my own car, that's fine. I'm in my own hands, not in your hands, sir. And Dallas, I'm not trying to die in Dallas, Texas, okay? And it was just absolutely insane. So Cheyenne had called the Uber that second time. So I was like, Cheyenne, give me your phone. So I got her phone and I shared our ride with Caitlin from the Love Library, because I was like, Caitlin needs to know her. I'm like, someone needs to know where we all are, who we're with, what is going on with them. So then I share the location from Cheyenne's phone, and then I get my own phone and I text Caitlin. I'm like, I just shared you our information from our Uber ride. I'm like, we may or may not die. Like, we may or may not make it back. And Caitlin's laughing. And then Zay had a video of Caitlin laughing at us. It was insane. Thank God we got home and we all got out of that car so fast. It was not the freaking vibe. And then when we got back to the hotel, it was the Boots and Bling party, but we didn't even end up going upstairs and changing. We just ended up staying down like in the lobby at the bar, getting some drinks and like hanging out. And since it was the last night, Nikki and I had early flights out. We had flights at like 9:10 and 9:40. So we had to be getting up kind of early. So we didn't stay up as late as everyone else like downstairs. But it was really nice to just be able to see everyone and talk with everyone. And truly, like, some people that I hadn't seen since Atlanta, like I hadn't seen Avery since Atlanta. I hadn't met Victoria. I hadn't met Caitlin or Zay or Nikki. Like, there were so many people that I hadn't even met yet that then I got to meet for the first time. And truly, like, I just can't tell you how absolutely like sweet and genuine some of these people are. that like you see them on their videos and like they just match who they are in real life, and like that's just so nice. Like truly some of the sweetest people. I also then felt like I grew closer to like some people that I was already pretty close with, and it was just like truly a great trip. I don't know if I will do it again next year, mostly because I am going to be in a friend's wedding who is getting married in Florida. She lives in Florida and I live in Wisconsin, so I'm already kind of planning that I'll have like at least one trip to Florida for the wedding and probably like another trip either there or somewhere for the bachelorette party. And flights are just expensive right now, so I'm already just kind of planning for that. And then I do have a family vacation in April next year, so I'm just already trying to be like conscious of like budget and planning. But if it works, I'd love to go to another signing and or just like on another trip with some of these like book people just to see again. And truly like for the different chaos and things, like it was a really great trip overall. And I would like, if you're like thinking about doing it, I would definitely recommend it. I think there are like a lot of, you know, like horror stories going online right now. And again, I'm not trying to discredit anyone else's experience. It was just my personal experience that I'm talking about. And I had like, minus the chaos and the bumps along the way, like I had a really great time. And truly all of the authors that I interacted with, like I didn't have a bad interaction. I think that was kind of everything that like I want to talk about on here. Like I said, I am going to be doing a haul now that I'll get into, so I'll show you all the books that I took. I look rough in that one. I actually filmed that yesterday when I was like not functioning in the slightest. So that one I'm gonna look a little rougher in. But anyways, thank you for sticking around with me for this part. Anyways, I will get into now the haul portion that you guys will see. But otherwise, thanks for sticking with me. And yeah, I'm sure I will probably be watching this back and realize that I forgot to talk about certain things. But it is what it is. All right. Take it away, Holleen McKay. I'm just gonna show you all of the books that I had taken and got signed, didn't get signed, and books that I bought. I'm actually pretty proud of myself. I didn't really buy that many, so I'm feeling good about that. And these are gonna be in no particular order because I just shoved them in truly wherever they could fit. I took 2 full-size suitcases and my weekender bag, and both my suitcases on the way home each weighed like exactly 50 pounds, and my weekender bag was actually hell on earth to carry around because I want to say this thing was like close to 30 pounds. It was insane having to carry it on my shoulder. But first up, I have The Savage by Sophie Lark. I actually did not get to go over and meet Sophie Lark because I was running short on time. But Nikki from Nikki and Bookland, obviously she went over and she got it signed for me. Then in the like swag bags, the 2 books, I don't know where the other one is, if that's in here. Honestly, I don't know, but one of the books in there was The Unwanted Marriage by Catherine Amora. I'm excited to read this. I'm excited to read more of her books. So many of my friends love her books. I listened to one audiobook from her. It wasn't my favorite, but there are others of hers that I want to give a go, and I think this cover is very pretty. This was one of my favorite author interactions. I got to finally meet Anna Huang, and I took all of my original indie men covers of the Twisted series that she signed, all of them in color coordinating pens. So like Twisted Love had blue. I'm not gonna open all of them, but then like Twisted Games had this like orangey color. It was just perfect. And she actually knew who I was. I went up to her and I was like, you know who I am? And she knew who I was, and that was just insane. I absolutely love her and so glad that I was able to get those books signed. Then I did not get a wristband for Colleen Hoover, and some of this might have been repeated because I'm filming these on 2 separate days. Like I'm gonna film the first part of this video tomorrow, so if I'm repeating myself, so sorry. So I had only taken 1 book, so I got to get It Ends With Us signed, and I also got a couple of book plates from her as well because one of my friends, she was actually gonna give me a Colleen Hoover book to take to sign, and she forgot, so I got some book plates from her as well. And just like amazing, like her status level, she was sitting in like a giant office chair, like comfy chair. She had assistants like uncapping pens for her, like ultimate icon behavior, and she was so sweet. I loved meeting her as well. Then I got Lessons in Sin signed by Pam Godwin. Forgive me, Father. And then let's see what next is in here. Between Hello and Goodbye by Emma Scott. This is a book that I read for like my prepping for Book Bonanza vlog, and I absolutely loved it and went to go and meet her, and I was talking to her about the author's note at the end of her getting like helicoptered out of the ravine and stuff. So that was fun. She was really sweet, and yeah, got that book signed. Then, because I had pre-ordered Vibe. So Vibe is my favorite book by her, but I knew that I had pre-ordered her special edition of it. And I don't normally like shiny covers, but I think it works so well with the like melting kind of like trippy psychedelic cover. I think this is really beautiful. I absolutely love it. So I didn't take Vibe. Hi, are you helping mama? Thank you so much. Like the interior formatting of this too, it's stunning. I'm so glad to have that. And then Cheyenne loves Meant for More by Liza James. I've only read her sapphic romances. I'm pretty sure this one's MF, but Cheyenne really loved this one, so then I bought this one because again, I think Liza James is gonna be like a new favorite author for me. Both of her books that I've read so far have knocked it out of the park, and I have more on my TBR, and I was like, you know what? I'm gonna buy it. So I bought that one. Okay, that's it for my weekender bag full of books. Next stack. Most of these, I don't really think I bought any of these. I think these were ones that I all took with. So next up, I had A Love Letter to Whiskey by Candy Steiner that I took. However, I was not able to get a wristband for Candy Steiner. So I don't know if it was Cheyenne or Sam. One of the two took this book. Me and Nikki both gave her that. One of them had like 3 Love Letter to Whiskeys to go get signed because not a lot of us had wristbands. So one of them took it to go get it signed, which was great. I took My Life in Shambles. It's not signed because Karina Halley canceled. Like literally the day before the signing. Next up, I took Nice Guys Don't Win by Macaulay Smeltzer, my favorite book from the Boys series. I actually bought this one to take to go get signed, and she put Nice Guys Do Win on the inside. I kind of like spazzed out a little bit meeting her. Not like in a bit where I was like, but it was more like I just went up to her and I was like, Sweet Dandelion is like my favorite book of all time. And I like didn't even know what to say. And she signed that as well. And I met Fiona Cole and she was so fucking cool. And I got Voyeur signed. I took Voyeur and Blame It on the Tequila, my 2 favorite books from her. But next time, Tequila and Rockstars. But next time I would just take the rest of my books because I love her. And she was so cool. And I watched a panel that I think I already talked about in this video earlier. That was just amazing. And she just seems like someone I would love to hang out with. Then The Frat Boy by Nikki Sloan, I took to get signed. And I also got some book plates from her because someone needed a book plate. I think it was a Tori that needed a book plate from Nikki Sloan. So I got a couple and I still have some more signed, so I'll just stick them on some of my other Nikki Sloan books. And then Marnie Mann, I pre-ordered 2 books from her. I can finally hold this book in my hands. This is like one of my favorite books I've read this entire year. Y'all know this book hit me so deep, and I told her that. I was like, I just had to stare into the BS after. And she thought that I was talking about this book because this was the other book that I pre-ordered from her, and I was like, no. This book like fucked me up. And also her husband was so sweet. All of the supportive husbands this weekend, icons. But I pre-ordered When Ashes Fall. I have not read this book yet, but it's apparently one of her most emotional. Oh no, it got kind of damaged in my suitcase. It's okay. But she said, be ready to get fucked up. Well, she didn't say those exact words, but I'm paraphrasing and I'm excited to read that. That's like top of my priority list. And I had to go meet Anna Todd. So me, Nikki, and Cheyenne all went over to Anna Todd together because we just had to meet the woman who got us like pretty much all started into romance. And I was like, this book is beat up. And she was like, I love seeing beat up books. Yeah, so I had to get After signed, and I also had her sign. I also have a Kindle sleeve somewhere. I'll show that. I had some of like my favorite authors sign it. Then I finally got to meet QB, and it was just so cool to finally be able to meet her. It was just absolutely amazing. And I only took 2 of my books. And even at one point she had said, she was like, you already have like all of my editions anyways. And I was like, I know, so I don't need to buy anything, but I just need to come and see you. And I took first semester. I actually had the entire Campus Tales series ready to be packed with me. However, when I was starting to fill out my suitcases were overweight. So I ended up taking out second and spring semester, but that just means I'll have to go and see her at another signing. Okay, then Still Beating, went to go see Jennifer Hartman. She was amazing, and her husband is just so, like, they just look like a cool ass couple. We said that he looks like he listens to Nickelback, and then Cheyenne straight up asked him. It was like an intrusive thought, I think, that just won in that interaction. But when we were talking up in the room after we had seen him, we were like, he just looks like a rocker. Like, I don't know. For some reason, we were like, he just looks like he listens to Nickelback. And then Cheyenne talking to him out in the lobby was just like, do you listen to Nickelback? And we were all like, what the fuck? He does not. Then Highest Bidder, I actually didn't even get the sign. I did not see Sarah Kate. I met her down at the bar with Cheyenne, and then like during the signing, I did get a wristband for her, but it was just too busy, and I was kind of like, you know what, I already met her out in the hotel bar, so I was like, you know what, it's fine. And I already had the Salacious Players Club signed, so at another point, like hopefully at another sign, I would be able to go and see her, but this point around, I didn't get to it. Then actually, Caitlin from the Love Librarian, she had messaged me before the trip and was asking if I had this cover of The Ritual by Chantel Tessier that I think is this a cover-to-cover book box one, but she didn't want it. So she brought it for me because I love The Ritual, so messy. And also I just realized there's like a little envelope in here. Oh, is it stickers? Cute. Okay, we got the last stack. So next up, another one that I didn't end up getting signed. I took Burnout by Coralie June, and I just never got around to her table once again. Next up, I took 5 Kristen Becker-Ritchie books. So I got Tori's Hot House Flowers signed, and then I got my 3 like main Addicted Calloway Sisters book signed. So I didn't end up getting the Like Us series signed, which I was bummed about because I was ready to be like, sign my Jane and Thatcher book, like my favorite book that I've read this year. But it's okay. Truly, like, they were still so nice. They still took so much time. So I'm still glad I got to get my book, like, especially get Kiss the Sky signed. So I'm glad that I could get Tori's Hot House Flowers signed because she loves Razy so much. So still like an amazing interaction, just like a little frustrating with the signing limit, but honestly that's truly like it is what it is, and I'm glad that other people got to go through and like meet them too. So I did not get to go over to Amo because again, running out of time. So Cheyenne, and I wish I really could have seen Cheyenne meet Amo Jones, but so Cheyenne took my sicko over to go get signed. So happy that I was able to get that signed. We both got our copy of The Words signed, and then she had this special edition of The Words at her table that we were both able to buy. And first of all, she wrote in it, "You are amazing and beautiful." And I was like, she was again so sweet. And we were able to get this beautiful copy of The Words. I did not love it when I saw it on like in just a picture online, but then seeing it in person, it's truly stunning. So very glad that I got to get that and actually meet her. I took Sinner, was not able to see Sierra Simone, didn't get a wristband, and I don't think her line like ever slowed, and I didn't even attempt to ever try to get in her line. Okay, Inked and Lies might be back somewhere in my suitcase. I went to go see Gianna Darling, and I took Inked and Lies and Good Gone Bad, my 2 favorite books, and I don't know where Inked and Lies is. It's gotta be somewhere back in those suitcases because I didn't leave it behind. But I had her sign both of those, and she taught again. She was so fucking sweet. And first of all, how is she so beautiful? It's actually kind of insane seeing her in person because she's just literally stunning. And I'm like, it's not fair that you get to be that pretty, that nice, and talented. I feel like you have to pick and choose, but she gets them all. So she was like, "Are these your favorite books?" And I was like, "Yes, I love Harley Rose so much." And she was like, "I love that." She's like, "Harley Rose doesn't get a lot of love." And I'm like, "I know." We were chatting for like a really long time, and I was complimenting her on her wedding dress, and she was like, "I was going for like Aphrodite coming out of the water." And I was like, "Well, you nailed it." So nice, such a great interaction. The other one that was in the like gift bag was The Pawn by Skye Warren. I've never read a Skye Warren book before, but this looks short and sweet, which is something that I need right now. And then lastly, I was like, I gotta get over to H.D. Carlton's table, and I got an H.D. Carlton wristband. She was lovely, and I think it's her husband was over there too. He was lovely too. They were both amazing. But I just really wanted to get my Cat and Mouse duet signed. And so that was like the last table that we went over to, and it was just chaotic. It was just so many people over in that area. It was just a lot of like heightened tension over there that I just felt bad for her. I was able to get both Haunting and Haunting Adeline signed, which I was very excited for. Anyways, okay, that is all my books. Yeah, it was truly like a great time and really cool meeting some of these authors. Anyways, that's it for today's video, and I'll see you when I see ya.